So 3 months ago, Michael from the YouTube channel, the Iron Snail, did this video right here.
These are my 110-year-old Canadian boots. They're called shoe packs. Today, we're gonna test out how good they actually are.
Waterproof test 1.
Trappers, hunters, general big, tough outdoors people would wear this type of boot. The side of this boot is a 7-ounce oil tanned leather, so it's filled with waxes and fats and everything like that to make sure that it's element resistant.
Now, he's got on a pair of apparently 110-year-old Canadian moccasins called shoe packs. Now in this video, you can see he wears them around out in the woods. He takes them out into the creek to see how waterproof they were. And you know, they held up for a few seconds before water kind of started leaking in. And after this video ended, I got an email from Michael. And Michael said, hey guys, I like these boots, I like these moccasins, and I actually want to be able to wear them when I go hiking. But I don't really want to wear them with the original leather sole on there. Now, what may have worked 110 years ago, hey, we've progressed a little bit since then, and he wants to have an actual sole put on. Well, right before we did that, we reached back out to Michael and we said, hey, are you sure that you want to mess with these? I mean, these, if they are 110 years old, you know, it's kind of neat to look at them. Should we keep them like this, or do you really want to put a rubber sole on? Well, we decided to poll you all instead and see what you thought. Now, right here is mine and Heath's poll. Now, with just over 1,000 votes in, it was about 70% of you wanted to see these redone with a sole on for everyday wear. Now, Michael's poll had about 6.7 thousand of you vote, and right at 75%, you wanted to also see these boots redone and have a modern sole put on. Well, it sounds like the majority has spoken, and today, that's what we're going to do to this pair of 110-year-old moccasins.
All right, so right out of the gate, when I first saw these, I was like, there's no way these can be 110 years old because they just look like they're in such good shape. But then when I started looking at them a little bit closer, looking at the thread, you don't get thread like this anymore. This is almost like a cotton or linen thread, a fine thread. The eyelets on here are almost like a japanned, blackened tin or some sort of metal, but it's I've seen this on old, almost around 100-year-old gear, outdoor gear, and footwear, and this looks just like it. But whoever had these took really good care of them, and it's pretty dried out, but you can tell it was an old leather, and yeah, I'd say they're about that age. All right, so because these are a moccasin, we need that insole, welt, Lake Rapid. We need that piece of leather to be a little bit more on the stiff side. It's got some body to it to really be able to keep the shape and allow it to bend on its own over time, over wear. So we're gonna use this real thick, this is insole, insole leather that I've actually hand carved before. So it's got some body to it. We may split it down, but this is what we're gonna use. This cutter, I've only got one, so I gotta flip it over. Don't know why I never had another one made. All right, so normally we would have a welt that we could just follow along, but since these are a moccasin, they are curved all the way around and just flat. There's nothing. So we're having to wing this, and I drafted a pattern that would go along with the shape, a little bit of the arch, and leave enough room that we can insole stitch it and then stitch it on the outside. Maybe decorative stitches, who knows? Voila.
Okay, so we have these cut out. We considered keeping it natural and going with this look, but I think the overall, I don't know, with the color of the moccasins, I think it's gonna look better with a dark brown stain on there. So let's put this on there, and then when that dries, we can keep going. All right, so this leather has a nap on there, almost like the feel of nubuck, but much smaller. And you can see when I put it on there, it just soaks it up like crazy. So this is going to take a couple of coats just to get the coloring right.
All right, so I have kind of sketched out where we need the arch would be so that we can have a stitch line, but I'm gonna have to rough this up at least here in the middle just to get some glue to adhere to this, because even though it's old, it was an old leather and it's just not gonna stick to this. We don't have to do a whole lot. We just want enough that it's gonna hold it in place until we stitch it and get it to bond.
All right, ideally, we could have roughed these up prior to stitching, but that's all right. I'll just be real careful and avoid thread. Okay, so while we wait for this glue to set up, let me talk to you real quick about one of my favorite brands as well as yours, because we see it down in the comment section every time we do a video about these guys, and that is Anson belts. Ladies and gents, Anson belts are built on a ratchet system, meaning no more punched holes in your belts. Their micro adjustability design offers 30 plus fit options, spaced just 1/4 of an inch apart, so you always get a perfect fit every time. You'll no longer be saying to yourself, this belt's a little too tight or it's a little too loose. Those days are over. And when your belt arrives, you simply snip away any excess material from the raw end of the strap. You then slide on your buckle, snap it into place, and then click your belt into place. It takes about 60 seconds and makes the belt entirely yours. Now recently, I've lost a little weight. And with my Anson belt, I didn't have to punch any additional holes. When I put it on this morning, as you can see, it fits and looks great. Another great thing about Anson belts is that you literally have thousands of possible belt combinations. They have so many different options when it comes to both buckles and straps. No matter what your outfit, I can guarantee you will find a perfect match. They have everything from cowhide, ostrich, bison leather, crocodile, to even non-leather options like canvas, vegan leather, microfiber, and nylon. The possibilities are fairly limitless. Oh, and by the way, the quality, every belt these folks are making is literally top notch. Now, Heath and I have both owned Anson belts for years, and all of our belts still look great. I promise you, you won't go wrong. Now, another great thing about Anson belts is that they have amazing customer service. And with literally thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews, I can promise you'll be taken care of. And they also have a lifetime warranty on their belts. So should anything ever happen to your strap or buckle, you'll be good to go. And one more thing I really want to recommend to you all is if you have not already done so, make sure you sign up for their email list. Now, Anson often comes out with a lot of collaboration belts or sort of a one-off type of belt buckle or a belt strap. And a lot of times they don't sell very many of them. So if you are not on their email list, a lot of times you will not know about these upcoming limited drops. So make sure you sign up for their email list. Now, ladies and gents, for a limited time offer, make sure you click on the link down in the description box below. Or you can go to ansonbelts.com/Trent for an amazing discount. Now, I always like to recommend their box option, which is 3 belt buckles and 2 straps, which gives you a total combination of 6 belt options. And you get all of that for under $100. Check them out today. All right, I'm taking this sharp edge off just because I want to give a clean look to this pair of boots. All right, one thing I wanted to point out real quick before we wrap this pair of boots up. I know some of you folks like to do a little investigating like we do. So here is the original tag in the boots. It says John Palmer Company Limited, Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. So you guys want to do a little investigation, Google that, look it up. You might be able to find some more information on this boot company. So again, these are oiled leather. There's a lot of different products that we could put on this leather to condition it, but because these are Michaels, I don't want to put anything that's going to darken the leather, which is what a lot of weatherproofing conditioners will do. So instead, I'm just going to roll with the Bic 4. That way it won't darken it, get a little moisture in there, and then he can do whatever he wants to do later on. All right, this pair of century-old Canadian mock toe boots has been completed. Now, this is what they looked like before. And just a quick reminder, these are from Michael from the YouTube channel, The Iron Snail. He picked these up at, I don't know, an old estate sale, I think he said, and went through the works. And we didn't do a whole lot to them. They had an original leather sole on there, and he said he wanted to wear these around when he goes hiking, so we beefed them up a bit. Now again, the poll results, there were about 7,000 or more of you that voted, and about 75% of you between both channels said to redo them, and that's what we did. And now, this is what they look like. Heath, tell us what we did.
Probably the simplest resole we ever, time it. This video is probably about the same time frame as another one, but the actual work that went into it was pretty straightforward and simple. We made it's kind of like a Blake Rapid. We made a midsole out of very thick veg tan that had a nap on it. We use it for, like I said, for insoles. And we just Blake stitched that in. We haven't seen us use the Blake stitch in a while. We actually moved it across the room, had to go find a plug and blow off some dust, but hey, we got it up and going. And then we just put on a faux stitch around there to make, kind of give it that like a welted look, but
I definitely think it added a nice touch.
Yeah, the thread, it just went along with that linen thread that went around the mock toe and just gave it a good look, and stained that a little bit darker. Put on some Vibram 132s.
Which is what he asked for.
Yeah, and what you didn't see, actually, once we got the soles on, we actually go, you know what I forgot? He needs shanks.
Yeah.
So we actually had to heat them up, take the soles back off, re-sand it, the whole thing.
So if you go back and rewind this and look real closely, you'll see that we did not put the shanks in. And right when we did that, right when they were closed up, that's when Heath said, we forgot the shanks.
Yeah.
So.
And the reason why you have to have that is because you're going from a flat, very natural walking sole to a defined sole. So you got that drop, and you've got to have something in there to support, or your feet it's gonna kill your feet. Yeah. So that's why we went back and put a metal shank in there and then re-glued them and trimmed them up. So you didn't see that, but you may have thought, did they put shanks in those?
We did. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now, if you are not following the Iron Snail, we'll put the link down in the description box. Go check them out. Michael does amazing work, and his videos are extremely entertaining. Trust me, you'll really like it and get a lot of information out of it. Also check out Anson Belts. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, all the good stuff. And until next time, y'all have a good one.